Today we're going over 100 Apex Legends tips and tricks to elevate your game. If you are struggling to improve, we have everything from pro level tips to things for the rookies, even things that you probably have never heard about before for weapons, legends, system settings, movement mechanics, heirlooms, and a lot more. Let's get right to it. Save Ballistics Tactical for close range fights. Connecting with this in a one-on-one greatly penalizes enemies as they can't fully spray you down without their weapon overheating. Also, you don't need to be looking at the enemy to have that pistol track them, so sometimes you might just want to hold it before you release it. A small but impactful tip for the brand new firing range is to utilize the death boxes as a practice option for armor swapping. The R301 in Spitfire is right where an armor would be in a death box, so you can simply just exchange these guns to simulate an armor swap. The center of Harvester now has guaranteed gold and purple loot. In addition to this, you can also now fly right through the middle of the Harvester, landing right on that loot. Also, a sneaky rotational tip is that part of the mountain was removed near the new POI stacks, letting you rotate over the mountain rather than just through the cave. Want to farm more damage or get your first 4K damage badge? A huge tip is to finish knocked enemies, as shooting knocked players does give you a free 100 damage to your counter. Just know that it is not going to level your Evo shield. Did you know that you can roll frag grenades under doors to better breach into areas? Look at the bottom corner of a door and wait for that grenade placement icon to go away. This forces enemies off of doors sooner, and it can damage them if they don't realize what is happening. Much better than kicking a door down and exposing yourself. Anyone on a squad can see what types of guns and equipment their team is running. All you have to do is open the menu and look at the bottom left corner to see the gun types and equipment rarities. This is a critical thing to do early on, so you are all not running the same ammo types. One thing that has set Apex apart from most battle royales is the much more in-depth and evolved pinging system. There's a lot of new ping options if you are just returning to the game and you haven't played in a while. In particular though, regroup and enemy audio should be two huge pings that you will want to utilize. A crazy tip is that only your feet need to be in a heat shield to protect yourself from taking ring damage. Doing this allows you to look around, not take damage, and most importantly, have no visual obstruction. If you are looking to optimize your way to level up weapons through weapon mastery, no doubt about it, it can be way easier to utilize the mixtape playlist to level off meta weapons like the Mozambique. However, just understand that holding your weapon up and not stowing it in either mode is going to net you the most EXP. One of Valkyrie's strongest combat techniques that flies under the radar is to climb at the end of using her jetpack. This bypasses the hand animation and prevents you from just floating up to an enemy's sightline and getting beamed. The slinged third weapon you use on Ballistic is going to be crucial. An option is to use something that goes crazy when it is fully kitted and also needs more attachments than most. This makes something like the Devotion R301 and the Prowler some great options. The evac tower is great to reposition the squad, but do not be afraid just to use that tower to simply gain height on nearby buildings or cliffs. Drop the tower, jump on the zip, and then jump off that zip when you're halfway up to gain that high ground, so you don't end up like Anakin. If you like your loadout and you do not want an enemy to get the care package weapon, you can hide that care package weapon by dropping it where players generally aren't going to see or rotate through. A sneaky bonus tip for those new players is that the Mozambique is the best gun in the game. You might even want to run two of these. But in all seriousness, the Mozambique and EVA 8 are full auto shotguns. Did you know that you can just hold down the trigger? Cover in Apex is critical. Did you know that nearly every loot crate can give you a nasty head glitch? Open the loot pill and stand on the back of it to shred enemies with some very atypical cover. Movement in Apex can let you style on your enemies, and it will make you a better player. To get the best wall jumps, jump off a wall just past the apex of your jump height. This is going to give you more distance and momentum. Remember not to hold any sort of directional movement as you come in contact with that wall to get the best jump. Are you looking to farm a 20 bomb? Here's a mega sleeper drop spot on Kings Canyon. Land at the set of buildings just south of the market for decent loot and a crazy amount of third-party options. You can rotate to Skulltown or Relic, Market, and even Caustic treatment depending on where the zone pulls or where other players are landing. A small tip is to utilize pinging at the end game to see where safe spots are for you and your team. Likewise, do not be afraid to ping enemy locations to see if they do need to rotate in. Similarly, if the ring on the minimap is flashing, you are not safe from that ring. If it's solid, then you are inside the ring and you are going to be safe. Use this to know your exact safety situation if you are on the edge. A sneaky tip for Bloodhound is that if a tracking skull icon is still on the ground, meaning someone died here recently, an an enemy teammate could still come back to try and get that teammate's banner. This is because the skull icon is just about the same amount of time as that dead enemy's card. The next tip can make a huge difference in life and death towards the mid to end game. Did you know that you can actually out heal ring 3, which does 10 ticks of damage every second? All you have to do is pop a medkit after 3 ticks, but before that 4th tick hits you, and you can't slowly walk and work your way to safety. Don't waste time. If crafting an item for your teammate, ping it right after it is finished, and your teammate won't have to wait that 5 seconds to pick it up. If an enemy is door camping with you and spam opening the door while you are on it, all you need to do is back off the door and it is going to open. This gives you the advantage as you have complete control as to when that door opens. You can compound your chances of success by also sticking the enemy with an arc star. Since we are talking about grenades, these are the most critical items in the game to successfully beat more skilled players in fights. You must always be carrying at least one. Grenades are the simplest, most readily available item to make plays by forcing movement on enemies to get those shots or take positioning. Also, did you know that you can inspect grenades like a normal weapon? A crazy mechanic or strat all Pathfinders need to know is the zip care package pinging technique. Right as ring 1 shrinks, you can get a triple zip line to literally go almost 500 meters across the map in mere seconds. Pathfinder is pretty great right now, as most legends are in Apex, but be sure to drop a quick comment down below with the legend or legends that you think still need some buffs. Buff Mirage. In fights, 2 versus 1 is always going to give you that huge advantage. If your teammate gets cracked and you want to assure you get a healthy 2-on-1 and not a 1-on-1, you can stall a fight and buy time by not peeking the enemy. All you need is a few seconds and a teammate can't get that battery off to then assist in the fight. Can't decide what optic to use for a sniper or want greater flexibility? Carry a second optic in your bag like a 4 to 8 times. This lets you have close range viability with something like a 1 to 2, and then you can swap optics at a moment's notice to be versatile at all ranges. Not every map has guaranteed loot spots, but a huge guaranteed spot is the back of docks on Olympus. The center loot pill here always has purple and gold tier loot. The micro game is critical in Apex Legends. Small heals over time matter a ton. Poor micro game is the first sign of a bad player when I do spectate anyone. Batteries are of course good, but sometimes just popping one shield cell can make the world of difference in both your damage output and your survivability. If you have any downtime at all, you need to be healing. Want to get more use out of Loba's black market than just taking 2 items? You can find any item that is in the black market by pinging it in the market, backing out of the market, and then holding ping on the item highlighted at your market. A gray line will then go from the item in the market to where it is on the ground. A very sneaky tip is that certain guns, generally snipers and larger caliber weapons like the 30-30 or longbow, can actually open doors by shooting the door handle. You can use this to be a menace to enemies that are camping in a building. Frag grenades are one of the most deadly grenades in Apex, as they can do a full 100 damage hit and force movement on enemies. If you don't know, only health damage to enemies from a frag will cause them to get pushed. This could be 1 health damage, 50 health damage, or 75 health damage. All that matters is that they do take a little bit of health damage. When dropping down a vertical zipline elevator, you can connect and immediately crouch off that zipline at the bottom to quickly and more aggressively exit the zipline elevator, or really any vertical zipline. This also will work for horizontal ziplines if you do want to get on the ground a little quicker rather than jumping off. My favorite tip for Gibraltar is that you can use this bubble to stop enemies from breaching a door. Throwing the dome shield at the perfect distance when up against the door means no one can punch or kick that door, as the dome covers the door perfectly and it's gonna let you heal up while they are on the other side. This also works with Newcastle's mobile shield. Your initial fly-in or redeploy can make or break a game. If you want to get to the ground faster, hit the sides of mountains, buildings, and objects when you are dropping for a quick fall to the ground so you can't beat the competition to the loot. Getting to the center of an antenna on Stormpoint can be pretty tough, as the options to walk into this area are far and few. Another option that most don't know is that you can actually climb and walk up the antenna's cables at each of the side buildings. Does it seem like people are shooting right through your knockdown shield? It might be because you are not properly leading enemies. You need to preemptively be moving your knockdown left and right, almost leading where the enemy is. Do this when you are knocked to prevent yourself from getting insta-finished, and don't give up, as nearly every second matters to buy your teammates the time they need. If you need ammo for only one of your 2 weapons, you can drop one of your guns and then craft ammo, as it's only going to cost 10 crafting points for a single stack of ammo. You can shoot 2 Vantage ultimate sniper shots in rapid succession with no delay or animation between shots. This does require you to have only 1 round stored, and then you have to wait the exact amount of time, just under 40 seconds, before she regenerates that second round. Doing this properly will let you shoot the first round and then have the game regenerate a second shot right after you hit the first. You can use the ring timer if you do want to track when your shots are going to regenerate. Something most don't even recognize is that the lines next to the grenade icon gun signify whether you have multiple grenade types. One line means 2 types, and 2 lines means you have 1 of each type. A recurring myth that still pops up to this day is that legends run at different speeds. This absolutely is not true. The only reason it feels like this is because legends are different heights, which make them feel like they are moving at different speeds. If you are new to Apex, then you may not know that performing a finisher move will replenish your shields. But a bigger tip is that if an enemy is trying to crawl off of high ground or into a portal, performing a finisher is the quickest and easiest way to stop them from moving. Rampart's ultimate Sheila can be a crazy good tool to third party and wipe teams, but if you want to save her ultimate for later after you did already start using it, you can refund your mobile Rampart's ultimates to save time and get a quicker full magazine. If you pick up a weapon and then you find a magazine, you are going to have to reload that gun to fill the mag. However, if you pick up a mag and then you find the gun, the weapon automatically picks it up with the full mag, saving a second or two. Broken Moon is a pretty solid map to drop a 20 bomb and get the badge due to the zip rails. Most of the game will usually revolve around promenades, so try to land here or land at places like the core, stasis ray, or terraformer. This way you can rotate into this spot and get a lot of kills. Also, if ranked is on this map, 100% avoid promenade as there's way too many angles to cover and third parties are never ending. Mobile respawns can be used for more than just respawning a player. You can use these during the end game if you do need some cover and you are a little desperate. There's ways to throw your game in Apex before you even get to the first fight. This is because you and your team have to loot your own building and area, even if it is a small area. Landing too close together is one of the worst things you can do to set yourself up for success early on, but also don't land across the map to where you can't help your team if you are being contested. Jumping and kicking is tactically the faster way to melee fight. Also, crouch if you are getting punched off spawn, and it will let you slide away from the enemies who are trying to punch you. A crazy OP strategy for Crypto is to leave his drone at a survey beacon and wait till you are ready to take a fight or rotate away from the beacon. You can then simply pop into the drone and get a quick scan of the beacon to see where all the enemies are whenever you want. Don't underestimate how great upgrading your armor via a crafter actually can be. You won't always be fortunate enough to get better armor from your initial loot path. Using the resources to upgrade your armor off of a white to a blue or even a blue to a purple is definitely worth it. It maybe isn't said enough, but watching your favorite pros and or content creators actually is going to help you improve. Doing this can get you actual intel on certain strategies or tactics that frankly you would never think about without watching someone else. Be sure to watch with intent though, and try to really learn how and why they are doing something. Bonus tip, Apex is one of the most hardcore games out there when it does come to team synergy. If you've played solo, you've experienced the pain that is random teammates. Don't do this. Hop into my community Discord. You can find some like-minded players, or you can chat with myself in the community. I'd absolutely love to help you out. All that being said, actually playing solo duos or solo queue trios with no teammates is an incredible way to improve. This means you have to focus on smart playmaking as you can't rely on anyone else for help. A basic way to get a lot more information when healing is to heal peek. This is the art of just jumping up from behind objects to gain intel rather than closing yourself off to what is happening around you. Do this constantly. If you want to pan around with Seer's heartbeat sensor with a little bit more effectiveness and speed, you can hold Seer's tactile down to get better movement. This is definitely going to help if you are a controller player. One of the best ways to start off a fight is by opening it with an arc star stick. This is going to force the enemy team players to scatter, and you can beam one or all of the enemies if they do get hit by the arc star and they are slowed down. Most know that the best way to get health mid-fight is with an armor swap on a death box that is nearby. Another huge strat though is to drop armors on the ground for a quick pickup and health replenish if you do get pushed. This works even better in ranked if you have God Spot and you are getting pushed by multiple teams, netting you a lot more armors to put on the ground. One of the most important settings to change in Apex is taking damage closes death boxes. This has to be off, as if you open a death box to get an armor swap, you don't want that one singular bullet to rip you out of the box, preventing you from getting the armor swap. The reverse pad technique for anyone hitting an Octane launch pad is massive to save time, be more aggressive, and simply just make plays. This technique is also great if the pad is in a weird spot. All you need to do is crouch in melee and then hold backwards or down to get a reverse launch. A super underrated tactic is to utilize the third person mode in the firing range to see how your character moves when you do inputs. This is so important to tell how your movement will be in fights and enhance your understanding of Apex.
This time will be different.
Mad Maggie's tactical drill is very versatile as you can throw a grenade and use the ability at the same time, increasing your play options. Doing this forces enemies to move in a certain direction or they will take big damage. Either way, it's a win-win. If you don't know, heat shields actually revive friendlies faster when you are using one. You can't be in the ring though, you need to be outside of it and taking damage. Sometimes if you're right on the edge of a ring, it might be better for the teammate to crawl out of the ring and then you can drop that heat shield and revive them a little bit quicker. Callous Wall has a climbing type aspect where if you do pay close attention to the wall before placing, it can climb up the jagged rocks to continue its placement forward. If any ledge or wall is too high in the vertical, it more than likely will stop her wall from being placed further than you might want. This makes placing her wall at an angle of not 90 degrees or exactly perpendicular to any wall or rock ledge much easier for the ability to climb over and thus extend its distance. Early on in the days of Apex's beginning, it used to be that heavy ammo slowed down enemies upon getting hit. That is just a rumor and myth today, and in fact, any bullet that hits an enemy for health damage is gonna slow down their movement if they are trying to sprint or slide while they do get shot. Many guns in Apex Legends have incredible hipfire capabilities, but the Wingman specifically can be very good and accurate if you are in close range and need to pick someone off. Likewise with this, the Wingman paired up with an assault rifle can be a pretty underrated and good combo. Utilize the Wingman both as a mid to long range poking weapon or as a close range hipfire gun like a mini shotgun. This combo will increase your capabilities at all ranges, and most don't think to use the Wingman quite like this. For controller players, staying mobile while armor swapping can be super clutch. Jump and slide when going into a death box to be more elusive and take a little bit less damage. Carrying more healing items in a gold backpack can be pretty convenient, but this gold bag should get priority to Fuse. This lets him carry more grenades without compromising on heals, since he will get 3 per stack for batteries and medkits. Using the reshuffle technique during Mirage's ultimate can be a great way to reset your trickery if someone does find out who the real Mirage is. This is done by running back to the origin of the ultimate activation. Be sure to only do this when you aren't getting shot so enemies can't track your movements. Players are generally not utilizing Ash's passive to the fullest. Pinging a death box right as you go into a fight is a powerful tool, but be sure not to use it too early and wait till you are actually ready to make a play. Before Lucky Tip 69, be sure to hit that like button, as I hear you're gonna get an heirloom on your next Apex pack if you do, and thanks for the support, I greatly appreciate it. A crazy strategy to counter a Gibraltar tactical dome shield is to throw an arc star on top of his bubble about 10 or so seconds after the bubble has been on the ground. If properly timed, the bubble will disappear and the arc star will just drop to the ground at the same time, damaging everyone that was just inside the tactical dome, or it will at least cause them to scatter away from it. If you are trying to get the Flyers loot, do not waste tons of rounds on them. Hit it once, wait for 3 flaps, and then hit it again to save some ammo. Also, if you are close to leveling up your Evo shield, part of the damage to the Flyers will count towards leveling your Evo shields. You can use Horizon's ultimate to breach into buildings. It's gonna break a doorway if enemies are camping on a door, which makes it a great tool to drop on roofs or next to doors before you do breach in. Also, if someone is on a doorway, you can drop Horizon's tactical on that door and it's gonna lift an enemy off and you can push in. Sometimes sacrificing part of your health for a teammate is worth it. Use your body to body block a teammate after they just got revived, or if they are low health. You can also do this when a teammate is pinging a beacon to share damage that they would take. One of the most powerful techniques for Lifeline is to use your healing drone while also in combat. Not only does this give you more health during a fight, you'll get to heal twice as fast if you are popping cells or batteries at the same time, since you are healing both health and shields simultaneously. The Marvins on Olympus can give you guaranteed purple loot. Hit select or interact between the white and blue chest icons on Marvin's chest to get a purple item every single time. On Wraith, you do not need to always do longer portals. It goes 152 meters, but sometimes just using her ultimate for short ports down to low ground is nice to snatch a knocked teammate or have a safe and quick way to retreat to high ground. A bonus tip is that if you start a port and you don't want to use it, if less than 5% of the energy is consumed, you can hit your ultimate button again to cancel the use and save the portal. Thermites are incredible as tools to stall and prevent movement on enemies. Not to mention, the visual and audio cover you can get during a revive is great. You can also better combo this by working together with your team or having one player hold the angle while the other player does a revive, all while that thermite masks the audio. Wondering how much of what item to carry and at what backpack level? Here are my preferred inventories at every backpack level. Notice the emphasis on not too much ammo, lots of big heals, and always a grenade no matter the backpack level. The Sentinel sniper rifle may just be one of the most versatile weapons in the game that you can use. Not only does the charged up weapon do massive damage to enemies at range, a 1x or 2x or iron sighted Sentinel can be great to stop enemies with this huge close range damage that most won't expect. If you do get to an end game location much sooner than other players, you can break the doors of all buildings adjacent to your area so enemies cannot easily fortify and hide inside those buildings. Always be looking ahead. Not many know, and it definitely is not easy, but you can hop over a Newcastle's electrified wall without taking damage. Practice this with a friend in the range to get the jump down. The red loot pills have more than just good attachments in them. The pills are triggered through smart loot. This means you will always get better attachments or attachments that you are missing. The best way to take advantage of this is to try and get some base attachments before you head over to get that red loot pill. This can really supercharge yourself and your team with loot quite quickly. Revenant can be one of those legends who most don't expect to fight against. A critical technique for Rev is to always use his tactical silence orbs on any movement-centric legend, which is more times than not a lot of the players you are going to be fighting. This greatly messes up people's games as they won't be able to escape. Also, you can use the silence to cover yourself when you are healing or you are trying to revive a teammate. If you haven't done it, sticking a trident with an arc star is going to stun, stop, and damage everyone that is on the trident. This is literally one of the easiest ways to wipe an unsuspecting squad who is trying to rotate past you. Are you one of the people that didn't know you can change your skin by clicking the brush? An unwritten rule for Bloodhound is that the White Raven will not spawn if an enemy is within about 180 to 200 meters of Bloodhound. This means if you travel a little bit and you notice no White Raven is spawning, enemies are more than likely nearby. Sometimes the lack of tracking is tracking on its own. A fairly powerful movement technique during combat is to fake out an enemy. This is done by starting to run out from cover and then strafe back behind cover right away. This catches so many people off guard as they will shoot some shots and miss. As they stop firing, you re-peek them and fight them, and making a one-on-one a little bit easier and more likely to go in your favor. For many legends, you can tell when an ultimate goes away by the percentage of recharge on screen, like Fuse's ultimate at around 15% recharge. Stop doing it. Do not overloot. Improvement starts by actually landing near fights. This does not necessarily mean a hot drop, but you need to be taking fights, and landing in the middle of nowhere, looting for 10 minutes is not the answer. As a Watson, you can fence through doors that are closed. This is an insane way to make plays on enemies that are door camping with you. This literally stuns, breaks a door, and lets you beam them so easily. A small setting that can make a pretty big difference is to change your game settings to have streamer mode on. This will let you see the specific legend that gets knocked or eliminated, not the player's name. This can help a ton when it comes to understanding which characters are out of commission, much like how the kill feed tells you which legend's shields get cracked. Obviously, comms can bypass this somewhat, but you won't always have this, and you have to expect or wait for that communication from your team, and this information is available right away. Another unwritten Apex rule is to always use shields before health heals. Using any shield item, cells, or batteries are quicker to use than their syringe or medkit counterparts. Every second matters, and this will get you back into the battle a little bit quicker. The only time when health is a greater priority is when you are taking ring damage, or if you are, say, 5 hit points, you have a medkit but you don't have a battery. The medkit in this instance is going to get you a lot more health faster than 3 or 4 shield cells. If you are struggling off your drop, it might be because your dropping technique sucks. The optimal fly-in is about 400 to 600 meters, and it depends on the map and terrain you have to navigate around. In general though, always dropping at about a 45 to 60 degree angle to your drop spot is going to be best to keep your speed maxed out. As a caustic player, it's critical to just not be lazy. It sounds obvious, but always putting a gas trap down regardless of the situation is so important, as it does have a number of benefits. Entering a fight, rotating, moving to a building, even if you aren't staying for long, just place a trap down. You can always pick it back up before moving to refund that charge. Also, any caustic does not get hurt by gas, both friendly and enemy gas, which means caustic is the only thing that is a counter to caustic gas. My number one recommendation to improve is to implement an actual training routine. All it takes is 3 to 5 minutes a day to get your shot on point, and the rest of your matches for that day are simply just going to be better. Here's what I recommend to improve your skills. For the first minute, warm up your movement and zip jumps on the agility course just to get things going. For the second minute, warm up your shot by tap firing between the targets and the dummies. Don't worry about spraying the bots here. It's really all about target acquisition. And for the third and final minute or so, turn on the dummies to fire back and move around randomly, and work on side peeking and one magging them in and around buildings to simulate a little bit more realistic fighting. On Storm Point, you can do a reverse cannon launch by crouching in the corner of the cannon. This is great to get up to height of nearby buildings, or if you just want an alternate way to get away and really confuse enemies. Did you know as Fuse, you can aim down sights with Fuse's ultimate to recon areas or just get more precise long-range placement, don't be afraid to use this ability as a pure recon tool. Here are a few cool tips to know about skins and heirlooms in Apex. For one, if you buy the Battle Pass, you'll always get enough coins to purchase the next one, meaning you really only need to buy one Battle Pass and you get the rest for free. Second, heirlooms come randomly from opening packs. If you don't get one by the 500th pack opening, you are guaranteed to get one at this point. And third, through Apex's level reset system, you will eventually get one heirloom for free, but it takes a very long time. The best way to level up is by living long in the Battle Royale, as really kills don't net much overall XP. Living for about 15 seconds is equivalent to getting one kill. Looking for ways to get better, but not a fan of practicing in the firing range, an alternate way to get better is to utilize the mixtape playlist. You will get significantly better, and I mean significantly better, with all the gunfights if you do play these modes. As a Bangalore, try to smoke enemies more than yourself. Smoking yourself has some uses, but blinding your vision for concealment is never really optimal. If you can blind your enemy's surroundings, this is going to better let you make a play and they won't know what you're doing. So what is that one thing you need to work on right now to become a better player or reach the top of your skill? No doubt about it, it is absolutely gonna be your gun skill. If you have gun skill, everything else will simply fall into place over time. If you want more on Apex though, check out this video, hit that like button, sub for more, and until next time, happy gaming, legends.